continuing our conversation on Miller, it seems like we're really excited about his untapped potential in this new Kubiak offense. Is he potentially the X factor for the offense?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance. I mean, I was incredibly high on him last year. Nothing's really happened to change. I think the first year, incredibly frustrating just with the injuries and all that, and just kind of the way it played out. It just felt like he was stuck behind a rock the whole entire year, and every time he started to push it up the hill, it rolled back on him a little bit. So hopefully he finds a way to just get on the other side of that and leaves all that stuff behind him. I like the fact that he kind of never gave up and fought back until he got on the field. He very easily could have just folded and rehabbed, and I don't think anybody would have thought anything about it. But that showed me something about what's inside of him. But I think his talent, his hands, all that stuff, I think the sky's the limits for him. He just really, really needs to get on the field, and they got to make sure they can block. That's probably the biggest thing for all the running backs this year. They need to find competent offensive linemen who can open up some holes for him.
Well, I think, yes, they need to find the offensive linemen, but I do think this system feels tailor-made for him. We've mentioned this before, all those sort of unheralded running backs who've had success in the the Shanahan, the Mike Shanahan, the Gary Kubiak, the undrafted guys, Arian Foster, Alfred Morris was a late round pick, Terrell Davis was like a 6th round pick. Who's the other guy in Denver? But, I mean, just these guys that can go one cut and go, and they say, we're going to open the hole for you. You go hit it.
Clint
I think
Portis?
there's Portis was in that system. He was a little more of a high pick. I know there was a guy in Denver right after Terrell Davis that was another one that just they were just uncanny how they were all succeeding in that offense. And I think Kendre Miller can be that kind of guy. It was really frustrating how much time he missed with injuries. It's a position where it's hard to ever stay healthy. Is this going to be something that plagues him? But the thing that was crazy with him is every time he battled an injury and he missed a couple weeks, he would lower your expectations, and then boom. I remember being out there in L.A. He returned to practice against the Chargers, played in that game. It's like, oh, that's the guy we saw early in camp. Right. Then he got hurt for a little while, and then he got some snaps, I think, at New England. It was like, oh, that's the guy we saw in camp. Then he was hurt for a long time, and he left that great lasting impression against the Falcons. And that is a little dangerous how high that impression was. It was 13 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown in that last game of the season. Did he also catch a touchdown pass in that game? 2 touchdowns in that last game of the season? Is that right? And, it just reminded us of all the reasons to be excited about him. But obviously he's got to stay on the field to prove it.
Reuben Drones got 1,200 yards in 2004 in Denver. There's just a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys.
Mike Anderson, I think, is the one I was thinking of.
Mike Anderson was he was before, and then several years later he had another 1,000 yards.
He was undrafted too. It was unbelievable, man.
In that same vein, who else on the team do y'all consider would be a boom guy who can make the team better, who might be under the radar right now?
Yeah, A.T. Perry showed us even smaller glimpses of that. Mm-hmm. I think he'll have that opportunity. Man, I wish there were more obvious answers to this question. It'd be great if it's Chase Young or Peyton Turner or Isaiah Foskey at defensive end. It'd be great if it's Willie Gay at linebacker. Jordan Howden, second year. Boom guys. That were as high on as Kendre Miller. Nick Saldiveri, does he count at guard? But, they need somebody like this to completely surprise us and move into a whole nother echelon.
What was the question? Boom guy that could change the season?
Boom guy who could change their season, yeah.
Peyton Turner?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That's like the literal boomer bust guy right there. I don't think there's an in-between. I think he either hits or he doesn't.